Go ahead with an opening statement, and then we'll have some questions from the media.
All right, new week, game at home, so we're excited about that. Homecoming, so uh, obviously, going off of the post game from last week, you were able to watch the film and looking back at the game, I would just address this that TCU they played their best game of the year, and we didn't play our best game of the year, and I think you guys have heard me say this over and over again that my goal is to get us to perform at our best every week, regardless of the opponent. But when you play in this conference and you play against some really good teams, if they're playing at a high level and you're not matching that, you have no chance. And that was the result for this game. Still a lot of things for us to learn from and to get better. And just disappointing that I wasn't able to get the guys to play at our best in all three phases. And so we're going to have to evaluate everything and see what factors we can improve on. And I think the sense of urgency for us to get better quickly is even more now and pretty evident on some places that we can address and things that we can control. And so we'll be working on that. I've already been working on it, but we'll try to get that all done by the time we get to Saturday, and by then perform at our best. That's the goal. Going against a really good Texas Tech team, well coached. Joey McGuire is a legend in the state of Texas in coaching, and he's done an amazing job putting together a really good staff. I know pretty much everybody on their staff, and they all have great reputations as coaches and as recruiters. And so you're looking at their team, talented team with start on the defense. They're just a really big defense. I think this is the biggest defensive backfield I've seen in college football. But they can run and they're strong and they're physical. And then you look at the front seven, well coached, and they get after the quarterback. And so it's a tough task. Our offense is going to have to figure it out and find ways to get points on the board, and utilize our strengths. And then on the defensive side, you see what they can do. They can run the ball. I know they've had some bad luck with injuries at quarterbacks. I've been through that before, but they have very capable players and a strong O-line. So looking at the matchup, they're going to be difficult, but we have to be at our best to even have a chance in this game, and that's the plan. And then looking at the team, we've got some adjustments to make, but I still like the guys. I still feel good about the team, the culture, the leadership. We'll keep building on that and keep moving forward with a positive outlook, and try to get ourselves ready where we can play at our best this weekend against Texas Tech. So I'll take any questions you guys have.
Okay, we'll start with Jared Lloyd and then Matt Baiamonte.
Kalani, Ben Bywater made kind of an announcement today about his future. Wanted to ask you about his, that decision that players have to make and kind of the impact on the team, losing a leader and a guy who's been really productive for you the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Ben, and I think when the injury occurred, it was more of a what are the options, and if you guys know Ben, he's going to want to play, and I think as we started to look into it and started getting more feedback and getting advice from the professionals, I think Ben was so focused on just getting back on the field and playing. As we started to get more information, the best thing to do was to look at his options and deciding for him rather than him deciding for himself and looking into it with his family. And I think that's the right decision, is to get the surgery and get him healthy and not to put him in harm's way. And so that's I would do the same. I have to think of him as if he was my son. And so this is the right thing to do. We still need his leadership, and he's got a lot of production on the field, like you said, but we'll still need him to be a big part of our leadership and our team. And he's done a great job with that, getting Harrison and Ciala and the others ready to play that position. And so he'll still be needed on our team.
And also just, kind of piggybacking off of that, health-wise, some other guys were out. Any other season-ending injuries or just guys still being dinged up?
Well, I think for us, Tanner Wall will be out for the year as well. He had when we evaluated, he had surgery, and so I think we're pretty safe to say that he'll be out for the year, and that's unfortunate because he's starting to play really great football. But for now, those are the season-ending ones. The guys that got banged up in the game, I think in the TCU game, came back and played again. So I think we'll be okay there.
Coach, after watching the film, you guys retooled the offensive line a little bit against TCU. How would you grade their performance against the Horned Frogs?
Well, not good enough. We didn't score any points, and we didn't run the ball effectively. So obviously wasn't that. I don't think that was the reason, but there's a bunch of different factors into it. But that didn't help much either. So offensively, we've got to figure things out.
All right, we'll go Jake Hatch and then Jay Drew.
Kalani, just wanted to ask you after rewatching the tape, do you take anything positive away from the defensive effort in particular from the TCU game?
No, listen, the team, the effort's there. We've got to do our part in all the other parts. So that's the other factors that go into earning a victory, and that's all the little details, small simple things, and then. If you want me to be honest with you in terms of like the turnovers were a wash, really, right? But if you're looking at what would really been helpful, is that our offense were in third and long for the majority of the game, and we didn't convert third downs. And then on our defense side, we had way too many third down conversions, and so we had opportunities to get off the field. We didn't do that defensively, and offensively, we didn't win first and second down enough to make third down more manageable. I think the average third down was 9+, so that's not going to go well for us. And in order to do that, we have to be more effective as a team on offense, and defense got to get off the field. That makes it a little bit simpler to see for us to see. But then give credit to TCU; they made some plays. Man, the quarterback threw the ball really well, but. We didn't help ourselves in some aspects of the game. Even though I thought he was able to make some accurate throws, there's some things that we got to do differently. And if you're going to throw the ball 60 times and not get a sack, there's got to be problems. So I know that they had some quick throws, but there's enough play action and 5-step throws in there where we should have at least disrupted the timing and made things easier. Now, we did get a couple interceptions, but not enough game-changing type of plays and the disruption that Jay and myself and that we want and what we're used to seeing. So that's kind of the key on that side. On the offense, we just got to find ways to have success. And there's a lot of factors that we're going through, but we do have to pivot and find ways to make plays and find ways to get better on third down on both sides of the ball.
For the second straight week, you're going to find yourself in a similar circumstance with a backup quarterback who hasn't played a ton. It looks like Texas Tech could be down to the third-string quarterback. What's the biggest challenge in facing guys you don't have a ton of game film on?
But just assume the best quarterback that's going to take the field. It's because that's what you have to worry. You can't assume that the guy that's going to step in isn't going to be a game breaker. These guys are all. I mean, they've all had success in high school. Doesn't matter if they're freshmen or whatever. They just need to get used to the stage. And then I've said this before that when you're implementing a game plan, that game plan is usually for a different quarterback. What TCU was able to do was make the game plan now to fit what Hoover can do well. And so that's what Texas Tech's going to do. They're good coaches. Most of the time you try to get that done in the frame of the game itself. But if you have a whole week to prepare for it, they're going to utilize his strengths. I like to see us do that with our guys that are healthy, so that's what we got to get done.
Kalani, this time a year ago, you had a kind of adversity hit in October, just like this year. Do you feel like you're in a better position program-wise to kind of handle the adversity and rebound from it than you were a year ago?
I do. I really do, Jay, and that's a really good question. I think you have to learn from the times too, but I think we're in a different stage now where it's the motivation to play is way different. I think last year it was just more about just getting to a bowl game, and the bowl game that we already knew what we were going to be playing, and so I'm just being really honest with you guys, and with this year we're still a lot to play for, and the affiliation with the conference is huge. I mean, we went to TCU and got to experience that stadium. We've made a lot of changes since the last time I was in that stadium. Huge upgrades. Fan base was excited, and we had fans show up, So, but it was this situation where every week's going to be kind of special moment, whether you're on the road or at home, and I think we have an opportunity to showcase our talent on national TV in front of our awesome fans at home. We were able to do that in front of our fans, on the road. We just didn't do it well enough to allow them to go home completely happy. But we appreciate their support and what they do for us as a program. And so there's a different mindset, one that I don't really have to try to work so hard in motivating, but what I need to do better as a coach is getting us to function at a higher level and play up to our capabilities. I think physically we're in a really good spot, but I have to factor all the things, whether it's scheme, personnel, all those things, schedule, everything, to getting us to playing better, and I'm working on that. And that's the goal for me to get that done.
Thanks, Jay. We'll go to Kevin and then Matt.
You mentioned a little earlier about being in third and long a lot on offense. What are the conversations that you've had with Aaron Roderick to maybe, tangible things that you can do immediately, whether it's play calling or anything like that, to kind of figure out how to get to third and manageable more often for the offense?
Yeah, we talk about things all the time, and I think that this is a little odd because I've usually been able to rely on our run game or the skill on that side to get things done. And for whatever reason, we're not executing well enough, and that's my job, and that's A-Rod's job. We gotta find a way to do that. And there's a bunch of different variety of ways that we can get that better, and that's what we're going to work on. I don't have time to really discuss it with you, and really don't want to give Texas Tech any ideas of what we're trying to do too. So for us, it's have a higher level of execution. That's going to be the key for us to have success.
And then I guess maybe answer John, but does it mean running the ball less at all? Is that part of the equation or no?
Everything's in the equation, except for punting on third down.
Coach, depth chart question for you. But the past couple of weeks, the backup behind Isaiah Bagnall was Michael Daly. Does it look like he's listed on the depth chart this week? What's the latest on Michael?
Yeah, Michael Daly is no longer with the program. He had expressed his interest in entering the portal when it does open, and so we're still honoring his scholarship, keeping him on scholarship, encouraging him to get his schoolwork done and allow himself to be eligible for that window when it does open. Love him, love his family, appreciate all his hard work that he's done since he's been here, and just wish him the best. Once a Cougar, always a Cougar, and nothing but love for Michael and his family.
One more depth chart question for you. Aiden Robbins, what's the latest on Aiden? Will he be available against Texas Tech?
He practiced last week, and I think the goal was we gave him enough practice and try to see where he could be, and we feel really good about this week about him participating. But again, we got to get him out there and see how he can handle the practice, and he's got to still compete against the guys that are currently there on the depth chart. So once we get that going, I think a higher possibility of him playing this weekend than before. And I don't know if I've said this before, but he's been banged up all year. There's a point in camp where he got banged up and then just been playing through some injuries. So we're hoping to get the full 100% Aiden back. And if he's not there, then we'll make sure that we hold off until he's ready. I think his desire and want to get on the field and help the team is awesome, but we need to make sure that he's doing it and that he's functioning at full capacity and full strength.
Okay, we'll have a couple more questions for you, Coach. We'll go Jared Lloyd and then Jake Catch.
Tony, I just had a question about trends, and we watch it as play calling as we're watching the game and stuff. And how much do you look at kind of the trends of the play calls, offensively, defensively, and allowing that maybe an opponent to have an idea of what to expect, what's coming, or how much more is it just, hey, we need to run what's working, find things that are going to work, regardless of whether there's trends there.
Yeah, I think we factor all of it, and you do it from a self-scout point of view, where we say that during the bye that's what we did, and then what do we want to do differently, and then also how can we utilize the guys that are healthy and 100%, and the guys that are developed and done better, and from game 1 to game 6, And so when you factor all those things, I think they're all components. They have a piece of the pie on trying to figure out the equation. But, what it comes down to, just find success and any way you can find it. And I think it's not a huge departure of what we're capable of doing as a team on offense. We've seen our offense be explosive before, and we just want to get back to that. Get back to that identity of being an explosive offense and find ways to make plays. And I think those will all head us in the right trend to getting points on the board.
Kalani, there's been a lot made of the homecoming festivities going on this week, Big 12 people coming in, etc. Will that change anything in terms of your guys' preparation for this game, or is it all eyes just on the game itself?
No, just on the game. I mean, honestly, every home game, especially this year, has felt like homecoming already. It's just the Rock, our student section is amazing. They bring so much energy, and they're there early. It's why I try to dance and show them my appreciation to them when we come in from the Kruger Walk, because I appreciate them doing that and making BYU football a big part of their life, especially their weekend. And then our fans just show up and they bring this unbelievable energy, and then it's just we try to do our best to entertain them on the field. And you have to protect home in this conference. And this conference, the games are all, I mean, they're unpredictable. And the thing that we can't be unpredictable is that we need to be at our best. And that has not happened enough times for me to be really happy. And that's my job. So I got to get that done and make sure that we do it for 60 minutes. And if we can do that, then hopefully there'll be more entertainment on the field for us.
Then just one other real quick one. Are you expecting more shuffling along the offensive line, or do you feel like what you had against TCU will be what you go with going forward?
I think there comes a point where you need to just get the guys up and play, regardless of who's snapping the ball, who's playing in what position. Let's just execute and play. I mean, I don't know if we're overthinking things or not, but my job is to get us on the goal and not be distracted by anything else. So I don't know if I can answer that question other than we feel really good about 8 to 9 guys that can play. I like them to compete and like to get the best guys out there. And if we need to, we can rotate guys too. But more than anything, we got to get a rhythm down, and a lot of that happens to be just the 5 guys up front, making sure that they can play assignment sound and communicate well with each other.
Okay, Coach, that's all the questions for today. Thanks again
All right.
for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Good luck this week. Okay, next up we're going to have cornerback Eddie Heckard. So if you have questions for Eddie, you can go ahead and raise your hand. Hi, Eddie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. Thanks for being here this Monday.
Yep, no problem.
We'll go ahead and just jump into some questions. Let's go, Jared Lloyd.
I know you guys are moving on, Eddie, but we got to look back for a second at TCU. How much of their success passing the ball do you put on your defense, the guys making mistakes, versus? I mean, it seemed like Hoover made some just fantastic throws as well. So what's the balance as you looked back at the film from the TCU game?
I think it's 50-50. I think he made a lot of good throws and made the right reads and took advantage of when we weren't in position. And I put it on us as well, not being in position, because, the play call, every play call has whatever route combination they throw at us. It should be pretty much covered. So, I mean, we weren't on our A game, and Hoover made some good throws and capitalized on that.
So what needs to happen to fix that in your mind and make sure that you're able to get those route combinations covered for against Texas Tech?
I don't think it's nothing that we need to drastically change. I think we just need to go back to the drawing board. And I mean, we had that game. We're gonna learn from it today and keep going forward. I think now that we experienced that, we go into Texas Tech, and we're like understanding the situation better and understanding what we need to take away and what Texas Tech does as well. They might not even run the same routes as TCU, but we'll figure that out this week.
Go ahead, Jay Drew.
Eddie, how much with all the turnover at safety, with all the injuries, and I mean, we're seeing fifth, sixth stringers in there. How much stress is that putting on the cornerbacks and the whole defensive backfield?
No stress at all because, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't really, like, the safeties, yeah, they have a big role, but as corners, we just cover our guy or we play in the third or we play in the flats. Like, it's not much that, regardless, we have to do our job. It's nothing that the safety is. Who's ever back there, we still have to do our job. So it's no stress. Like, it's just no stress. Like, whatever. We have to do our job at the end of the day. I don't look around it, see who's at safety and see, and it doesn't make me feel no type of way because I know what assignment I have on that play.
And then this is kind of an off the wall question, but I guess one defensive player might have said that he didn't have the right shoes for the surface at TCU. Was there anything to that at all?
Not for me. I don't know. No, I don't know.
Were you guys preparing for a grass surface?
I was preparing to play football. I mean, I just knew we wasn't playing on AstroTurf. I just turf or grass, I wear the same cleats. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Jay. We'll go Kevin and then Jared Lloyd.
Hey Eddie, with Tech maybe having a backup quarterback again this week, or a guy that there's not a ton of film on, what did you kind of learn from last week going up against the backup, and will you change anything personally and maybe as a defense in kind of being better prepared for a guy who doesn't have a ton of tape?
You don't change nothing. I mean, all our coaches been coaching for years, so we still prepare the same. And I mean, playing a backup quarterback it's never easy because you don't know like what they do, and you don't know what the offensive coordinators have planned for them and their skill set. But I mean, I think you just prepare like you've seen in the weeks before, or you look at a little bit of high school film to see if he's mobile or not. But other than that, the offense isn't going to change like as far as like new concepts that the receivers run or new run plays. Maybe they might run some QB runs if he's mobile, or they might run less QB runs if he's not mobile, and the last guy was. But other than that, I don't think you change too much.
And with Cooper last week, how much high school tape did you watch of him, and was what TCU did with him similar to what he did at Rockwell?
I didn't watch any high school tape with him. I don't know. I just was focused on the receivers. I knew he wasn't mobile though, so that's why I knew I had to cover my man tighter. I planned on him being a pocket passer and him throwing in tight windows, so it made me have to like lock in and man coverage a little bit more.
Go ahead, Jared.
Eddie, what does it do for the defense when you have a leader like Ben Bywater, have to be done for the season?
It hurts us, but I think all fall camp, all spring ball, we've been getting those younger guys ready and to pick up the rifle when if anybody was to go down. It sucks that he went down, but yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say about that. He's a great player. One of the best linebackers I've played with, and I only got to play with him a few weeks, but yeah.
Kalani often talks about how when guys get hurt, he still wants them to be part of the process, teaching, helping the other guys, understand what's going on. What difference does that make? Just, even if they're hurt, that they're still around, like, a guy like Ben or other guys that have been hurt, to be participating like that.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Just him not just fully separating himself and just helping the younger guys, because us players that's been around and been in college for a lot of years, we see things differently, and a lot of the young guys, they just want to learn. They just want to know what we know, and like a lot of the corners are always picking my brain, and they want to know how I seen something after they seen me make a play or seen me jump a route. They want to know what I seen. So I think teaching any younger player, or even some of the players like that are just as old as you, like your perspective of things, and because we all see different things, play in and play out. So yeah, it's huge for him to still be there helping those younger linebackers get ready and like for their future, not just this season.
One more thing for me, just how bad do you want to get back on the field after kind of that tough performance last week?
Yeah, I mean, you almost want to play right again, just because you've thought about those mistakes in your head that you made, and you want to fix them and just start the game over. You always want those plays back, but I mean, you don't get them back until the next week.
All right, Eddie, thank you so much for answering all of the questions and for being here.
Thanks.
That's all for today.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next up we'll have wide receiver Keanu Hill. Hi Keanu, how's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good as well, thank you. You ready for some questions?
Always.
All right, let's go, Jared Lloyd.
Looking back, Keanu, what did you see? Why was the offense kind of having so much trouble being consistent last week?
Probably distinct. I would say probably like just coming on the first play, just had a little setback with the whole interception, with the pick six and all that. Just kind of took the momentum away, I feel like, and yeah, I feel like that was a real buzzkill for us.
I just asked Eddie this, but how important? I mean, how much do you want to get back on the field after just a tough performance like that?
Oh, right away. It's just one of those where it's like, dang, I wish I could have done this back then. And it's just like, it was like after an L like that, it's just like you're just so eager to get back on the field.
Go ahead, Jay Drew and then Kevin Reynolds.
Hey, Keanu, how do you think the receivers are doing as a whole, and also specifically in the last game of getting separation, getting off the line of scrimmage, giving Slovis good targets?
I feel like we've been doing a pretty decent job. I feel like there are things we can do better as a whole and as individuals, just because he's not we're not Key's not the only one on the team. We got to be doing our jobs as well as receivers, as getting open, and then on another things, even if we're not open, just making the tough catches. We call ourselves playmakers for a reason. So just coming down with those big catches for sure is one thing we probably need to work on. And yeah.
And then, obviously, your father played for Texas Tech, right?
Yes, sir.
Just what does this week mean to you? And obviously going to Texas next week, this is a pretty big month for you, I would think.
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, I feel like even like I was saying in the bye week to my parents, this next week's gonna be real. These next couple weeks gonna be real big, just because we're going against a lot of Texas teams. I have a lot of boys on the teams and stuff like that, so it's gonna mean a lot just in general, just because. My pops went there. I grew up watching Texas Tech because he always watches them on Saturdays or Fridays or whenever the case may be. I'm always sitting there right there watching the game with them. So it's going to mean a lot for multiple reasons, a lot for family and for bragging rights too in the family. So.
going off of that, did you grow up a Texas Tech fan yourself? Watching all those.
I would say yeah, just because always watching them, watching when my pops would just have the games on, just watching everybody, like Pat Mahomes and everything like that. Is always into the games and always hearing my dad talk and stuff like that, what he sees on things like that, and he even tried to teach me as we're watching the games. So.
Was Mahomes your favorite player growing up watching Texas Tech?
I would say it was he was a receiver that played a while back. He was number 15. I forgot his name. Crabtree. That's his name. Appreciate it. Yeah. I would say Michael Crabtree, just because I was watching him as just it was just amazing to see like the plays he would make. So.
Here you go, Jake Hatch and then Sean Walker.
Yeah, Keanu, Jay kind of alluded to it, but I think you grew up in Bedford, Texas, which is right next to Euless Trinity, where you went to high school in the DFW. So playing TCU obviously is your connection to where you grew up. Your uncle Roy Williams played at Texas, and obviously your dad at Texas Tech. So you talk about this being for bragging rights. Is there a trash talk going on at all, or is it just more friendly banter back and forth between your family and you?
It's it's at the end of the day, we're boys, we're men, so it's always trash talking going back and forth between us three. So me and my pops was talking mess even like after the game of TCU, like I know y'all you got next week, y'all got next week, you better come on next week. So he was just talking to me about that. And then my uncle, on the other hand, the whole Texas, I know it's probably like another week away. So, but I'll probably get to that next week. So.
Well, and then focus on the game at hand. Kalani said that he believes this might be the biggest. He said that's the term. He's the biggest defensive secondary he's seen in some time. Speaking of Texas Tech, what are you expecting from the Red Raiders defensively?
There's a lot of energy coming out. Like I said, I think I said earlier. Just I feel like down in the South, the mentality and stuff is different over down there. So for sure they're gonna come in with a lot of energy and a lot of swagger to them. So it's gonna be big for us on the offensive side just to come and match the same thing they're doing. So.
Yeah, Kibo, kind of keeping to the theme a little bit, are you expecting to have a whole bunch of family in the stands, being Texas Tech, BYU's homecoming game, watch you play, that kind of thing? Like, are they going to come up for that one? Or
Probably not this one, just because my pop side, they haven't really been they've been a lot busy on the other hand, but they're probably going to come to the Texas game. Mainly just going to be having my pops, mom, and sister there. So.
Your dad will be here this weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For sure. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. Did Texas Tech recruit you much in high school? Like, did they offer up anything? Obviously, with connections, like it feels like there'd be an instant like walk on, if nothing else, right?
For sure, but I feel like yeah, they were looking at me during high school and stuff like that. But I really feel like by where the school I went to, by us not being a heavy passing offense, more of a run offense. If you look back at Trinity High School and stuff like that. So I really feel like that was probably the main reason. Like they really liked me and stuff like that, had a lot of connections, but I really feel like it was mainly the aspect of us not being a passing offense.
Okay, Keanu, looks like that's all the questions for today.
All right.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Great. Next up is going to be defensive tackle John Nelson.
I just sit right here, right? Okay.
Hi, John. How are ya?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. We'll go ahead, just jump into some questions. Let's go, Jared Lloyd.
And I know you've played with Ben Bywater for a while, and obviously, it's football. Guys get hurt, but what's it like having him be done for the year?
Yeah, he's a great player and a big part of our defense. So not having him sucks a lot, but it's like you said, it's football. We kind of have to deal with what we got. So I think Harrison stepped in, right? So we got a lot of faith and confidence in him, and confident he's gonna make plays and he's gonna be a good football player.
How big of a difference? I know Kalani wants to keep guys who get hurt involved. He wants them still leading and talking. How big in your mind does that is that for players to have that leadership, even if they can't be on the field?
I think it's really important because, they're hurt and they can't play, but, they're still part of this team and they're still, I've been playing with Ben for 3 years and still a big part of this team and having him there is still really good for the guys. So I think it's good to emphasize that and what they're doing right there is a good thing.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, John, Kalani talked about the fact you guys need to get more pressure on the quarterback, but you did have 2 deflected balls, if I recall correctly, against TCU. Is that like almost the last resort? Like if you're not able to get to the quarterback, they're just teaching you to get your hands up. What's the philosophy on the D-line right now?
Yeah, obviously getting the pressure on the quarterback is a big deal. We stepped into a conference that's really got a bunch of good players, and TCU's got a really good team. And I mean, they obviously played for national championship last year, so getting pressure against that O-line was tough. And you saw us drawing up blitzes and stuff. Anything we can do to get after it, but the mentality right now is we need to get more pressure on the quarterback. It doesn't matter how we can do it. Preferably just with the 4 guys on the D line, but that's something we got to step up in, and it's not going to be easy from here on out. So,
what's the mentality this week as you come back off that loss against TCU?
The mentality is doesn't matter who we're playing, doesn't matter where it's at, what time it is. We gotta bring it as a defense, and that's something that all of our assistant coaches are reiterating, and they do a good job of doing that. And Coach Hill, as the D coordinator, does a really good job of doing that. And at the end of the day, we're the players playing on the field, and we got to bring it. So the mentality is we're playing a home game. We got to learn from TCU, but we got a whole new game ahead of us.
We'll go back to Jared Lloyd.
John, Kalani talked about third downs, and obviously that was a challenge against TCU. They converted a lot of those. What needs to change as far as those third down performances?
I personally like to get more pressure on the quarterback myself. As a defensive lineman, that's what you're going to do. I don't know a lot about coverages and whatnot or how they can do it, but what I'm going to say is, I got at least the D line's got to put pressure on the quarterback, especially me. That's something that we gotta get better at.
We'll take a couple more questions from Sean Walker and then Jay Drew.
Yeah, John, you touched on this a little bit, but I thought maybe I'd follow it up a little bit because Kalani mentioned earlier kind of the need for urgency with his team, how urgency's never really been higher than coming off of that loss and coming into homecoming. What is sort of the urgency level of this group, I guess, where it feels like things are kind of swirling with that loss and that sort of thing, and just sort of where is the team's kind of headspace, I guess, with that matter?
Yeah, I mean, you lose games in football, right? Going undefeated is a really hard thing to do, obviously, and winning every game is really hard. So, we lost the game, didn't go the way we thought it should have. We made some mistakes on all 3 phases of the game. But each game is a big game and a must-win game, right? So the mentality going into Texas Tech is, we got a good team coming into Provo. Regardless of what their record says, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if we're favored. Doesn't matter if they're favored. We got to bring it on offense, special teams, and defense for the whole 60 minutes.
Since you mentioned it's really hard to go undefeated like that, does this team feel a little bit better equipped to deal with kind of the week in, week out, even losses of a much difficult schedule than what you guys have faced over the past couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, after we lost to Kansas, no one was really burning the ships or anything, or no one was really freaking out. And I don't think the vibe over here is that all of a sudden we're just a bad team because we lost, right? We're still we're as good as we believe we are, and we're gonna continue to play as hard as we can from each game here on out.
John, Sean kind of asked the question I was going to, but do you feel like are you guys better equipped this year when adversity hits like it has than you were last year in October when the tough times hit? Do you feel like from a leadership standpoint and talent and all that you're more prepared this year?
You know, we'll see. I think we are. I think we got really good leaders on offense and defense. The whole team. I think everyone understands the importance of each and every game, and no one's really taking it lightly. Nothing against last year's team; those dudes were great, and had a lot of leaders on that team, and a lot of guys that left that put everything out in this program. But I think our mentality is, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We got a game on Saturday. We got to do as best we can to get ready for it and try and win that game.
All right, John, I think that's all the questions for today.
Yep, thanks so
Thank you
much.
for being here.
Yep.
Appreciate it.